Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hello and welcome to Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar and with me is Sonia Shenoy. Sonia, good afternoon. What a good beginning to this week. And let's not talk about the record levels being conquered by the markets because it's daily a record-breaking movement. At the moment, both Sensex as well as Nifty at the high point of the day. Midcaps as well as banks are also performing well. But the frontline indices, Sensex Nifty, really roaring in trade. It's Reliance Industries adding to the most amount of momentum, Larsen & Toubro as well, and HDFC Twins doing very well. But Infosys is the key dragger today because of yet another management change at that IT company, Sonia.
Yes, it is. And you know, the good part about the rally is that it's become very broad-based now. It's getting more and more participants in. So if you look at the contribution plate, the three top contributors today are sliced across sectors. So there's Reliance Industries, which is contributing about 27 points. There's L&T, which is contributing 23 points. And there's HDFC Bank that's contributing about 13 odd points. So it's actually really secular, the move that we're seeing in the index this afternoon. Of course, even on Infosys, it had recovered from the lows of trade. So that just goes to show that there is a lot of buying at lower levels. The trading history of Infosys has suggested that, this kind of news flow has always been a very good buying opportunity in the longer run. But straight to the top story now, Kerala has seen some respite from rains. Commercial aircrafts have started flying out as a red alert has been withdrawn. However, the state now faces huge cleanup challenges with the fear of spreading diseases. Radhika Ramaswamy joins in with a ground report.
I am in Omalur Road in Pathanamthitta district. This road goes towards Sabrimala Road, and this is a tiny medical store which was completely inundated in the floods. In fact, there was 6 to 7 foot water in this medical store, and you can see everything completely destroyed. All the medicines destroyed. Things are being thrown about. In fact, syringes, insulin, as ointments and tablets being thrown about. Hardly any medicines that can be used. They lost at least about 5 lakh worth medicines. Of course, this place was inundated. There is restoration work in progress. But at a time when there is immense scarcity of medicines in the entire state of Kerala, this is the situation across medical stores. All medicines are completely lost in floods. Hardly anything that can be used.
All right, thanks Radhika for giving us the ground report. Our heart goes out to the people in Kerala, the ones who are suffering. But remember that we also spoke to various companies on how the situation has really affected their business in Kerala. And here's what Federal Bank, Muthoot Finance, as well as Titan, the ones who have big businesses there, are impacted.
To my mind, for sure, the comeback in some of these areas would be very stiff. I mean, when we were in the middle of it on Thursday, even I was worried whether we'd be able to get back to work. Today, we are all back in full flow, and people have to live, right? People have to win back their own lives. So I am quite confident that we should not over-trumpet the problem and create a situation. I think the maximum impact would be in certain pockets, which has to be dealt with sensibly, just like the way various other crises have been dealt with. But you will see the comeback is quite significant and swift.
Less than 5% or 4 to 5% of our business comes from Kerala, because Kerala is generally seen by us as a resource mobilization state and not as a lending state. But as far as the impact of on the branches are concerned, only 3 of our branches which were on the ground floor have been affected due to this flood. As far as the NPAs are concerned, since we have the gold with us, the NPAs is just a technical NPA and we are fully secured with the gold always with us. So I don't think there is an impact on that on the P&L.
Generally, softening of gold prices is good for business. Having said that, I think the industry is still not as buoyant as it used to be in the past. We've talked about that for the last 6 months or so. So to that extent, there is some softening of the demand, but hopefully the softening of gold prices should help. The southern states generally have been hit quite badly. At least Karnataka and Kerala have been hit very badly due to the rains. So one is hoping that things settle down there fast and it picks up.
Okay, well, that's the word coming in from Titan. Actually, cautious commentary from the management. They say that they can only manage to do 20% as of now versus 25% growth in the jewelry business that they had projected earlier. But let's talk about the big story. Infosys, the CFO, has quit. That has played heavily on the stock. It's down around 3% in trade today. It had managed a bit of a recovery, but now it's gotten back to seeing some selling pressure. Reema's here to tell us what the brokerages are saying post the exit. Reema, over to you.
Thanks so much for that. Let me start with Morgan Stanley, which has downgraded Infosys to an equal weight. They recommend booking profits and moving to the sidelines because they believe the company lacks triggers for a further re-rating from these levels, especially given the stock's outperformance vis-a-vis the market. So if you look at it on a YTD basis, Infi's seen an up move of nearly 40% versus a 10% up move for the benchmark indices. And also, its valuation multiple. It's trading at 18 times F520, which is in line with its long-term historical average. While Morgan Stanley does concede that a CFO resignation does not necessarily impact the company's financials, but there will be an overhang around concerns surrounding exits of their senior management, and also they see limited upside to their FY19 revenue growth as well as margin estimates. And even for FY20, in case there is an acceleration in growth and improvement in margins, that too they believe is already baked into the price. JP Morgan highlights the report saying that the company appears to be struggling to keep its top management flock together. Ranga, that's the erstwhile CFO, has done a good job because under him the company had 2 buybacks, a special dividend. He managed to hold on to the costs very well, which allowed the company to hold on to its margins despite a tepid revenue growth. When you compare Infi and TCS, JP Morgan believes that TCS's valuation premium, called a safety premium, is likely to expand vis-a-vis an Infosys. This development will also entail a longer and a tighter involvement than was earlier envisaged by Nandan Nilekani. Again, JP Morgan also says that CFO is generally not the most critical person in an IT company, considering the cash generation that the company easily generates, but the stock has had a good run and therefore might see a breather. Citi says high attrition as well as senior level exits will create challenges in terms of execution for the company. Infi's attrition went up by 200 basis points on a year-on-year basis, despite the steps taken by them to curtail it. The company had announced a compensation for 85% of their workforce from April. In the short term, they believe the stock could react negatively, as we can see in today's trade, especially given the strong performance YTD. But over the medium term, it depends a lot on the kind of growth Infi clocks in. Back to you.
All right, Reema, thanks so much for getting us all those details on Infosys. That's clearly under.
It's a roaring market that we have on our hand right now. So almost a 350-point jump up is what we're seeing on the Sensex. And look at that. It's been a clean, smooth rally, no jerks at all, and no selling pressure at higher levels. A couple of these stocks do deserve mention. The battery makers have once again started to rise. So look at Amara Raja Batteries. It's now up almost 4%, seeing a pretty impressive volume and price action. But CNBC TV 18 first broke the story of Samara buying Aditya Birla Group's retail arm. Now the deal is close to announcement. Nisha broke that story. Nisha, all the details?
Oh yes, Sonia, this is going to be a large transaction, and this will actually solve 2 purposes for Aditya Birla Group. First is the stop loss coming in from the loss-making retail unit more, and on the other hand, also recovering a large part of the investment that has been made by the promoters in this particular company. So we broke the story in March end this year when Samara Capital had initiated talks, and now a very big development that has really come in is that Amazon is going to back Samara Capital in this large transaction. 4,200 crore rupees is the total deal size for 100% stake in more, is what we gather from sources with direct knowledge. And in terms of the structure, we do gather that Amazon is likely to invest through an SPV format as per the regulations of FDI in the retail segment, first 33% and then 49%. But it will be Samara Capital which through an AIF platform would be investing and buying out more. And that particular announcement, as I gather from sources with direct knowledge, is likely in the next couple of weeks. So this is going to be a large transaction for the retail segment of Aditya Birla Group. And let's shift focus then and talk about another CNBC TV 18 exclusive. And sources tell us that government proposes an IPO for ONGC Videsh. And my colleague Sapna Das joins us with all the exclusive details on that one. Tell us, Sapna, what do you have?
Hi. So basically, there has been conversation on this point within the government quarters. We are very clearly given to understand that the finance ministry has reached out to petroleum the first level of communication has already gone through in terms of the government's, desire and intent to do an OVL IPO. Now, as per SEBI regulations, basic 10% is the mark, but probably given the size of the company, given the fact that the promoter is ONGC, probably the government may explore larger than 10% IPO, but this is the first level of communication that has gone through. The government also expects that this will be good for ONGC in the sense unlocking of value of OVL should be a good signal for ONGC itself. There is no timeline given for the transaction as yet, whether they'll be able to conclude in the current financial year. But finance at least is very keen on its part. We have to wait and watch and see how this story really develops and what is the response that comes in from petroleum.
Markets, they're doing exceptionally well at this point, at lunch hour as well. So no sluggishness seen. In fact, some of the mid-cap counters have really started rising in trades. Man Infra is one counter which has gained quite a bit in the last few minutes of trade. There is a spike that is seen. Century Enca is another one, though with lower volumes there, I would say. Divi's Labs, that's another counter which has really perked up at the moment. So keep an eye out for some of those counters which are really breaking out at this point. On to some important news development, and a parliamentary committee looking into the issue of mounting non-performing assets has really asked the former RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan to appear before it and brief on that matter. My colleague Parikshit Luthra has been really tracking those developments very, very closely and joins us with the latest. Tell us, Parikshit.
Well, this is on expected lines. After the former Chief Economic Advisor Arvind Subramanian told the parliamentary panel of estimates headed by Murli Manohar Joshi that it was indeed Raghuram Rajan who had correctly identified the NPA problem, the panel members felt that it was only justified that Raghuram Rajan be called about what steps were taken to mitigate the crisis at that time, what was the advice that went to the central government from the RBI Governor's office, and what steps should be taken for better monitoring and supervision by the central bank. So a letter has been written by the chairman, Murli Manohar Joshi, to Raghuram Rajan, seeking clarification, seeking information, and asking him to appear before the panel. We don't know when he is going to appear, but this is an important step because it seems that the Estimates Committee wants to find out exactly what happened during the period when Raghuram Rajan was in office, and it will ask him about interactions between the RBI governor and the central government as well.
Okay, Parikshit, thanks a lot for that. Well, moving on, within 3 days of the Supreme Court judgment on lynching, an incident has occurred, unfortunately, in Rajasthan. The Supreme Court has sought response from the Rajasthan government. Ashmit joins in now on the phone line to talk about that. Ashmit, over to you.
What we understand is that in the month of July, the Apex Court had come out with a very detailed judgment where it had recommended various measures. It was very critical of the whole obligation. When the central government should undertake various measures to ensure law and order situation is maintained and that there are no such lynching cases. But for the benefit of our viewers, 3 days after this judgment in July, what we had was an incident in Alwar, which was again a case of mob lynching. In reference to that, the petitioners argued today before the Apex Court that this was in contempt of the court's directions, that the court had given extensive directions and steps that needed to be followed and that they weren't followed. That the Rajasthan police in this particular case had caused a delay in taking the victim to the hospital, which led to the victim succumbing to the injuries and eventually passing away. On the back of all of this, the petitioners sought answers. They sought accountability. They said that Rajasthan government needs to give explanations that these are violations of the Apex Court direction that they would need to clarify. Now, towards that end, what the Apex Court has done is that it has now directed the Rajasthan government to come up with an affidavit that would explain as to why such an incident occurred in the first place, and secondly, also explain as to what steps, what remedial measures have been taken, whether or not there was any prosecution of the policemen involved, whether or not there were any preventive measures that had been undertaken by the Rajasthan government. All of them will have to be explained. This case is expected to come up later again in the month of August. Back to you.
All right, Ashmit, thanks so much for all the details. It's an important matter, and the court is really asking for accountability in mob lynching cases as well. Let's take it straight to sports development, and the 18th edition of the Asian Games is on in full swing in Indonesia and is hosted for the first time ever by two cities, Jakarta as well as Palembang. Now, wrestler Bajrang Punia opened India's gold medal account after a string of sensational performances in the 65 kg freestyle men's wrestling event. Now, this is India's second gold medal in wrestling in 32 years, and Deepak Kumar clinched a silver medal in the 10-meter air rifle event. Ravi Kumar and Apurvi Chandela finished third in the mixed 10-meter air rifle event. On day of the Games, India's medal tally so far stands at 3.
Okay, so Deepak, Apurvi, congratulations actually to all those who won a medal for the country. We hope there are many more to come. But for now, we'll wrap up the show. As we do that, we'll leave you with a weather report from SkyMed. Do stay tuned in. Midcap Radar comes up next.
Hi, I'm Ahana and you're watching SkyMed Weather Report. Moderate to heavy rainfall is expected over the states of Chhattisgarh and Odisha. Meanwhile, Jharkhand, Bihar and West Bengal will see light to moderate rainfall with isolated heavy showers over southern parts of Jharkhand. Coming to South India, heavy rainfall is expected over many parts of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. On the other hand, moderate rainfall is expected to continue along coastal Karnataka and Kerala. Flood situation in Kerala may improve gradually. Interior parts of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu may also see light rainfall. Talking about central India, light to moderate rains are expected over Gujarat, Konkan and Goa, Mumbai and Vidarbha. Madhya Pradesh may also see moderate rainfall activity. Up north, light to moderate rains are expected over eastern parts of Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Isolated pockets of the hills of North India may see heavy showers as well. After the national weather, let's move on to the temperatures in major cities. Maximum in Delhi will be 34 degrees while the minimum will settle at 27 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will reach its maximum at 32 degrees and the minimums will settle at 27 degrees. Maximum in Chennai will settle at 36 degrees while the minimums will settle at 27 degrees. That's all for now. For more weather news, visit skymedweather.com.